we're sitting here, Sarah Lynn and I, and it's the end of June in Louisville. And do you know what time it is? What season it is? It's firefly time. Who doesn't like a firefly, right? I mean, going out in the early evening and seeing them flash at night and bringing the kids out. I mean, a lot of good memories with that. But sad to say, fireflies are blinking out, literally. They're going extinct in a lot of places, and a lot of cities already don't have any in their yards. And I certainly don't want that to happen here in Louisville. So one of the things I like to go out there and kind of militate for is an awareness of what it takes to keep fireflies alive in your yard if you have property. And one of the things people aren't aware of is, yes, the fireflies are out for about a month, and of course they're blinking in order to attract a mate and reproduce. But what happens to them for the other 11 months out of the year? Well, for many of those species, once the eggs hatch, they grow into these larvae that live below ground. They actually live in the soil, and they're weird looking. They look like little armadillos or something. And they are, of all things, carnivores. They eat other small worms, slugs, snails, and that's what they do in the ground. That's their ecological, what they do in the ecology of the soil. And then they grow into the firefly. So, what can all of us do to help the firefly survive in Louisville? Well, one of the things is to remember I said that they live out most of their lives in the soil. And when we apply insecticides in our gardens, it's going to kill them off. Not just the adult flying firefly, but its larva that's in the soil for most of the year. And while a lot of us these days are concerned about mosquitoes, and I get it, and they're contracting with different companies to apply pesticides in their yards and to kill the mosquitoes and the mosquito larvae. Well, what they're doing, sad to say, is killing off not only all the pollinators that visit that garden, but they're killing off the firefly that is below ground. Some of these people, when they apply the pesticides, say they just aim for the soil. They're trying not to kill the bees. Well, guess who lives in the soil? The firefly. And by the way, 70% of our native bees have their nests in the soil. So please think twice about applying insecticides in your garden. There are other ways to control mosquitoes, and often it's about maintenance, cleaning out your gutters and small pools and even buckets of water. They might have an inch of water only on the bottom. If that water's there for 4 days in the summer, guess what? There are species of mosquitoes that can lay an egg and become an adult in 4 days. So, just a little yard maintenance and making sure there's no standing water around will do a good job and not kill off our fireflies in many of our native bees that nest underground. Now, a couple other things for saving the firefly. When they're blinking out here in June and July, they're trying to find a mate. And if you keep lights on in your yards all night, your house lights, they have trouble finding their mate and selecting the proper one, the best one. So if you can just have the kind of night lighting that turns on and off as you need it, or remember to turn it off when you're not using it and don't need it, that would be very helpful. Lastly, just leave the leaves. Having leaf litter around at least in certain spots, you don't have to have it carted away. just put it down in your native garden or rake it up in a certain area of your yard, maybe no more than 6 inches deep. That will support that whole entire underground web of life down there, of which the firefly larva is a part. So again, please think twice about using any insecticides. Turn off outside lighting when you don't need it, and leave the leaves, at least in some portion of your yard space, to promote your underground web of life, the food web down there that supports, among other things, the firefly. Thanks.